Hello guys, welcome to our new video on client backends. In this case, we're going to talk about input schemas. What are they? Which ones are supported? What can you do with them? Etc. etc. So let's get started. Where do you define an input schema in our client backend? We're going to go there before we say what is actually an input schema. You have here in the version 1 of client backends, you have a section called input schemas, and you can find them in here. Okay, if I go to version number 2, you would actually find them under endpoint control. Okay, now which input schemas are supported? As you can see in here, we have support for query parameters, body, headers, and cookies. Now, as you're all aware, when you're sending an HTTP request, you can actually pass data to the HTTP server, the web server, in multiple ways. One of them being within the URL using query parameters, right? Another being in the body of the request, the HTTP request, which is supported by all type of HTTP requests, but usually not used in the GET request. Headers and cookies. Okay, in this video, I'm only going to cover query parameters and body because those are the ones that are going to be mostly used. Headers and cookies, we can leave it for a separate video. Okay, now how do you define them? So you see that when you click in here in the input schema or in the endpoint control in the case of version 2, you see that you have this JSON on each one of them. The JSON is exactly the same. It's just JSON with a properties inside, empty list of properties, basically a dictionary. Okay, so in this case, you have in here what is the schema documentation. Basically, anything using anything that JSON type definition schema supports, you can define in here. So for instance, here is a very small definition. So in this case, let's say that we're going to use this for our query parameters. In here, what we're saying is basically we're going to define two properties, name and isAdmin, and then name is actually going to be of type string, and isAdmin is going to be of type boolean. So we're going to define those properties for the query parameters, right? That would have those specific types. JSON type definition schema allows you to define the input, in this case, which query parameters are going to be used, which ones are required, which ones are optional, of which type, etc. etc. Okay, so it's for then those would be typified for your script and you would be able to access them. So regarding query parameters, let's start with that one. Let's go to our hello world example. Right? We already saw it in the previous video. Right here you have, I do a GET request with my browser, hello world. But if I actually want to define query parameters for that, now for instance, I don't have bodies, headers, or cookies. I'm just playing around with my query parameters, and I'm defining two parameters that I want to be receiving: string and name and feeling. Name is going to be of type string, and feeling is a list of fixed values that this parameter can get, which are sad, great, or fine. So if I go to in here and write feelings, right, I'm going to try with Sebastian and as name and feeling great. Hello Sebastian, today you are feeling great. Okay, so how do I actually use those? How do I reference them? You can see in here that we have hello, and then we're using input.query and then name, and in here feeling. Okay, so basically the input variable is basically the one that holds all the inputs that we have in here: query parameters, body, headers, and cookies. Okay, here you can see with autocomplete. So we're discussing queries, right? And you can see the ones that I already defined. So for instance, if I say day, that doesn't exist because it was not defined in my schema. So the ones that you're defining will be available for you when you're editing your script. So in here I have input query name and input query filling. Okay, that's how it's working. And so basically the name is being my name parameter is being replaced in here, and my filling parameter is being replaced in here. Now what happens if I say it here and I change it for UP? So I get an input error, okay, because my filling must be equal to one of the allowed values, which you already saw, sat, great, or fine. So if I do sat, we'll be fine. Well, we will be okay with the test. If I actually forgot to add name, I will get another error, okay? Now, which types are supported and for query parameters? What you can define in here, basically everything that is supported on JSON type definition schema. We have not tested it extensively with very complex types, but most of them, the most usual for sure, we have tested them and they work all. Okay. I try to keep it simple, nothing so fancy, but in case you find any issues, of course, you can always flag it to our product team and they'll sort it out. So let's go now and talk about bodies. So I created a post endpoint in here. Sorry, here a post with name post fillings, no query parameters, and everything in the body, right? So if I go to post fillings, that's strange. Path not found. Oh, because I'm doing a get request. Sorry, my bad. You see, it's a post, so I cannot try it with my browser, right? So let's try it with our Visual Studio. Okay, great. So here we have a body that we want to send. Name Sebastian, feeling great. Okay. Hello Sebastian, today you're feeling great. Nice. So if I do put, of course, that will not work because we don't have that path. We don't support put, only post. Now, what if as you see here, I'm sending a JSON request. What if I send a form data? Because you know that when you're doing a post request, you can actually send the data in multiple formats. We get the error, body must be an object. The same with any other, right? If I do text, if I do HTML, whatever, no, it has to be content type JSON. Okay, you can see it in here, content type application JSON. That's the one that we're sending. So it's very important that whomever is consuming the post, this endpoint actually uses that content type application JSON. Okay, so we cannot tolerate at this moment, we don't support other content types. So again, if I do in here fine with double E, I would get my error, right? Must be one of the allowed values. If I actually drop filling, the same, filling must be added, right? So we get our values. Let's say that actually I want filling to be optional. How do we do that? Just as we do properties, we can do in here optional properties, okay? And I could define fillings underneath, okay? Save my changes. Now, granted, I am referencing input body filling in here, right? You see that even though it's optional, it's still appearing in my autocomplete, right? But let me actually remove it now and test it out. Today you're feeling undefined because feeling is not defined, right? If I do it again, it'll work as expected. So again, for the body, same as for query parameters, anything within JSON type definition schema, you will be able to find it. Okay, hope that this was helpful for you and see you on the next one.